Tech for Seniors, episode 76, September the 6th, one day after my birthday. Welcome to Tech for Senior. We do appreciate you being here and thank you for coming. Just to let everybody know, this is broadcast to YouTube, and so we have some guests over on YouTube as well. We are recording the show, so if you do want to come back and listen to us over and over and over again, you can certainly do that. We have a big show for you today. We are going to, the format of the show is this. We're going to, we've just had an introduction. We've had a half hour of socialization. We're going to have an hour of the show. For those of you over on YouTube, we'll be stopping the presentation about 10 minutes to the hour just before the music segment. And then we will and then the question answer will start at top of the hour at 10 o'clock Pacific time. And we have 76 people in the audience today. So if you're over on YouTube and you want to hop over to our Zoom meeting, which we are doing now, then you can participate in the Q&A. We'll do the Q&A till about 20 minutes after the hour. Then we're going to give you a little time to get up and have a walk around and a bathroom break. And at 10:30, what we talk about is the premiere service, which is usually a term that YouTube uses to schedule a video. And we have at 10:30 a video scheduled for you. And these videos that we put on are material that we covered 1 year ago. And this is made specifically for you to use in your computer clubs. And it is material that we have up on our site. And today we're going to talk, about, Hewie's going to talk about time and travel. Dewey's going to talk about colorizing your pictures. And I'm going to take a Chromebook out for a spin and tell you about how fast you can make it go and all sorts of things that's sort of cool with your Chromebook. So those three will come on at 10:30. They come on automatically. And it is it's over on our YouTube channel. So it's not a Zoom meeting. You can just go over there and you can listen to that, and it'll start at 10:30. Once it's recorded on screen, then you can play it back over and over and over again. Don't forget about our show on Thursday. This is on Thursday, we have Tech for Senior Live. And it's a show where Bob, Hewie, and I and some guests get together and we talk about all the tech articles, of which there are a lot. And we post those all over to our Facebook page. So if you haven't, if you want to keep up on top of what's currently in technology, just pop over there, and we post a lot of articles each day. So let me introduce everyone today and see how everyone's doing. Where the heck's Hewie? Hewie, how come you dropped to the bottom? You're on the bottom row now.
I'm not on mine.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I do have something I want to share with you here. Just a moment. Yeah, well, yes, it was Ron's birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bob, where'd Bob go? Oh, there you are, right underneath me.
I'm still here.
Yeah. How the heck are you doing?
Just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's not my birthday yet.
It's not your birthday. No. What month is your birthday?
November.
Oh, November. Very good. And then, of course, we've got Dewey, who was telling me all about his steaks he was cooking last night on his new barbecue. And I hate it when he does that, because I said to Gail, I said, let's have steak tonight. And she said, no, I got a meal planned. And I thought, oh man, I'm really feeling like a steak after Dewey always tells me all these great jobs he does on his new infrared barbecue. So how were those steaks?
Well, as I think I mentioned, they were actually Omaha steak burgers, burgers made from steak. And they were
Right.
delicious. We actually had 2 or 3 different kinds. We had family over. It was a wonderful time.
All right, great. And Bill, where's Bill? Where's Bill? Where'd Bill go?
He's there.
He's waving.
Did you get anything? Do you want to say anything? Did you get any new tech or anything?
No, I didn't get any new gadgets, but there was some discussion last week about robotic lawnmowers.
Yeah.
Segway, the people that make the little scooters,
Yeah.
they're getting into the robotic lawnmower business, and they think
Ah.
they've solved the problem. Apparently, on the old models, you had to have what's called parameter wires to
Right. Yeah.
so the thing wouldn't fall off.
That's right.
Segway is doing taking a different approach, and they're using GPS, which you go and map the yard out with your phone to
Okay.
tell the mower where to go. So I'm going to write a little article on that and put that in the newsletter for those folks that are kind of want to take a
I'll look at it. Yeah.
curious
Well,
about it.
for
Go
sure. For sure, next year when the spring comes on, I'm going to certainly look at that. And that's my new project for the new year. And I can write lots of articles about that, eh, Bill?
Yes.
So that's coming up. So listen, the news this week, Lowcast. Dewey was saying, you guys mentioned anything about Lowcast. So of course, as you know, Lowcast is shut down. So what the heck happened? Well, the judge said, well, listen, you guys, you made $6 million last year. And this is supposed to be a nonprofit organization. And in fact, they were making money and reinvesting it. And he said, this doesn't look like a nonprofit organization. So he said, you can't do that. And when they stopped the revenue coming in, Lowcast said, that's it. That doesn't fit our business model. Of course, it's not supposed to be a business. It's a nonprofit organization. So they just closed the doors. So where we're going with Lowcast, or we don't know yet, but the doors are closed. Did you have anything? Well, we'll talk about that a little later. Those of you who wanted to buy a Rolex watch, you are just out of luck. There are shortages around the globe these days, from cars to microchips, but sales of the Rolex watch are up significantly, but you can't get them because of parts shortages. So those of you who want to buy a Rolex watch, it isn't going to happen. Apple is coming out with their virtual reality headset. This will be out in 2022. And I'm sort of interested in this. As you know, I have the Facebook, the Quest, and the Oculus version. But their sensors are going to be pretty impressive. And this looks like a pretty impressive machine. So if you're interested in virtual reality, of course, this will be out in 2022. I got a feeling you're going to need to have an Apple device to run this on, though. So I think that's going to be, that'll certainly be interesting. Bob, are you ready to roll with your security update now?
Just waiting for you to finish with your spiel.
All right, I've finished talking. Go ahead.
Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending September 3rd, 2021. VEC scam swindles $2.3 million from a small U.S. town. We have fallen victim to an internet-based crime that has defrauded our taxpayers of $2.3 million, reads an August 23rd press release put out by the town administrator of Peterborough, New Hampshire. It continues, we do not believe that the funds can be recovered by reversing the transactions, and we do not yet know if the losses will be covered by insurance. The business email compromise scam was detected when Conval School District reported it had not received its monthly $1.2 million transfer from the town. Scammers had tricked town staff into diverting the funds to a criminal account. Realizing this, Peterborough administrators contacted federal authorities and the Secret Service Cybersecurity Fraud Task Force began investigating. The agency found that the money had already been converted to cryptocurrency. Peterborough town staff involved in the scam have been put on leave, though there is no suspicion that they were involved in the scheme. The Secret Service continues to investigate the matter. For more, see the record. Ragnarok ransomware shuts down and releases decryptor. The Ragnar ransomware group, a prominent force in the ransomware world since January 2020, has seemingly shut down operations, leaving behind a master key that will decrypt any file locked by its ransomware. Bleeping Computer reported that there was no note explaining the move, simply a major change to the group's website, whereas it used to post the names of its victims along with a vow to release sensitive data if those victims did not pay. The site now simply provides short instructions on how to decrypt files. Looking at the fake site, it seems like the gang did not plan on shutting down today and just wiped everything and shut down their operation, Bleeping Computer reported. The move could possibly be the result of the U.S. government's new war on ransomware. Coinbase erroneously tells customers their two-factor authentication settings had changed. Due to an internal error, cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase sent alerts to 125,000 of its customers last Friday, falsely informing them that their two-factor authentication settings had been changed. The unexpected and untrue email were sent over a period of almost 90 minutes before the error was fixed. Coinbase admitted on Twitter. Some customers were so spooked by the alert that they panic sold tens of thousands of dollars in cryptocurrency. All of a sudden, the system just started sending stuff like a bug in the system. But it was not a malicious or third-party error, a Coinbase spokesperson told CNBC. 4PX botnet for sale. Operators of the 4PX botnet have ceased their activity and put the source code for the malware up for sale on the dark web. The ad claimed that the original authors of the code are no longer involved with the botnet, which is why it is now on the market. Should anyone buy the botnet, they will gain access to all previously infected machines. The record reported that for a cyber criminal, there are upsides and downsides to using a 4PX botnet. An upside is the amount of money that can be made, mainly from the cryptocurrency clipboard hijacking feature. But one major downside is that this particular botnet is not secure and can be easily hacked by other parties to be hijacked for their own interests. Arizona and Georgia adopt digital IDs in Apple Wallet. Apple announced this week that Arizona and Georgia will be the first two states to add their driver's licenses and state IDs to Apple Wallet on the iPhone and Apple Watch. The first places where customers will be able to use their wallet IDs will be participating airports. Users do not need to unlock, show, or hand over their devices to present their ID, Apple stated, explaining that customers will need only to tap their iPhone or Apple Watch at the identity reader. After Arizona and Georgia adopt the digital licenses, Apple claimed Connecticut, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Oklahoma, and Utah will follow suit. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. FTC issues first ban ever on a stalkerware company. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission recently announced a ban on the stalkerware company SpyPhone and ordered them to delete all the data they had illegally harvested from victims. Additionally, they banned the company's CEO, Scott Zuckerman, from working in the surveillance industry ever again and ordered the company to notify everyone who had the app installed on their phone. You may also find my video on this topic helpful. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. So the hackers got hacked. There's no justice, eh?
Not something I would recommend.
I love it. And also, if you probably bought that, the FBI, CIA, and everybody is going to be down your neck and freezing your assets, right? Exactly. So have you got something else for us today? You're going to tell us how
Yes,
to
I
raise
do.
our hand.
Yes, I do. Hold on a second.
It will explain. Here we go.
When you're in a Zoom meeting, sometimes you want to ask a question, and there's a right way and a wrong way to do that. Disrupting everyone by saying, hey, wait a minute, I got a question. That's not the right way. Sometimes it works if you hold up your hand, but there's no guarantee, because if there are a lot of people in that meeting, you may not be on the main screen, which means you're not visible to the person running the meeting. So that doesn't work either. There's a sure way and a polite way to raise a hand during a meeting. If you go down to the bottom to your settings, under Reactions, select Reactions, and there's a little thing that says Raise Hand. When you click that selection, you'll notice a hand pops up in the upper left corner. It also brings you to the beginning of all the participants that are part of the meeting. So the host has no choice but to see you because you're front and center. So the next time you're in a Zoom meeting and you have a question that you'd like to ask, do it the right way and get recognized, because you'll be at the top of the list. Stay safe, enjoy your Zooming, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. The other thing it does is if you have multiple people putting their hand up, it puts them in a list, and so in sequence of who put their hand up first. So it does certainly help and brings and as for us, it brings you to the top of the list as well. All right, thanks, Bob. That was great. Now let's see what Dewey has to say about his Galaxy 4 watch. Now, I must tell you that Dewey's been working so hard at this, and in fact, he got up early this morning and just got me this presentation about half an hour ago. So it's hot off the press. We are looking forward to this. Let's see what.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is Galaxy Watch 4 Surprises Galore. I know that many viewing this Tech Talk are iPhone owners, some of whom already own an Apple Watch or will be seriously looking at the new Apple Watch Series 7 when it's unveiled in the next week or so. Of course, an Apple Watch requires the owner to have an iPhone, and iPhone only, to work properly. Unquestionably, the Apple Watch has set the standard for wearable technology. However, the new Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 series of smartwatches is now a serious contender for Android smartphone users, and especially those with a recent Galaxy smartphone. It also costs about $100 less. The Galaxy Watch 4 Classic model that I ordered arrived last week. When I began the setup, things didn't go quite as expected. Instead, I experienced surprises galore. Surprise number one, the one-page quick start guide suggested first going to the Samsung US support web page. I went there and I found 10 support categories. None were identifiable as being for Galaxy smartwatches or wearables. Frustration. Surprise two. Next was a suggestion to visit youtube.com/Samsung Care to check out Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 videos. I found 168 videos there, but not a single one was labeled for the Galaxy Watch 4 or Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, the one I have. Frustration. Surprise three. Next, the single page quick start guide suggested downloading the tips and user manual. I found a 102-page PDF, downloaded it, and then discovered it was for the Galaxy Watch 3, an earlier model. Frustration again. Surprise 4. Undeterred, I went back to the Samsung website and I did find the tips and user manual for the Galaxy Watch 4, the model I have, or the other one. I was excited. It was offered in dozens of different languages, but when I located the English version, a notation informed me that it was not yet available. Unbelievable. Frustration. I tossed the quick start guide aside and decided to have to do the setup on my own. Surprise 5. After maybe a half hour, my Galaxy Watch 4C was totally locked up with 3 screens toggling in a circle. Oh, frustration. I sat back in my chair and cogitated until a shot in the dark idea came to me to call Samsung at their general customer service phone number. And you can see the number there. You might want to write the number down if you're a Samsung person. I wended my way through the phone prompts and finally reached a live technical service guy. He spoke fairly good English, but with a Filipino accent. I explained my dilemma, and he suggested one by one, perhaps a dozen different remedies to get my Galaxy Watch 4C operational once again. Not a single one worked. I suppose that was frustration too. He then asked permission, which I happily granted, to take control of my smartphone. The two of us worked in tandem for at least 20 minutes, he on my phone and I on my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. Though he seemed to have expertise, nothing would work. Surprise number 6. Finally, took more than 20 minutes, we hit on the right sequence of actions that started a reboot of my Galaxy, my GW4C. Voila, happiness has returned. It took this Samsung dude only a few more minutes to set up the 3 necessary apps that are needed for my GW4C. These are Samsung Wearable, Samsung Health, and the Samsung Health Monitor. And you can see their logos on the right. Interestingly, only the Samsung Health Monitor app appears in my app drawer. However, my tech guy, the Samsung tech guy, showed me how to easily access the other 2 apps. I think they come loaded now, some of these, on a new Samsung phone. I've now lived with my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic for 2 entire 24-hour days, and I'm like a kid with a new toy. When I went to bed Friday night, my non-LTE version GW4C still had 72% of the battery level from its morning charge. When I awoke, the battery charge was 51%. Not too bad, I thought. After checking the health data it had generated from my night's sleep, I put it on its wireless charger to bring it back to 100%. Charging took 56 minutes, about the time it took me to get ready for the day. My GW4C health data informed me how long I'd slept, my heart rate range, and my blood oxygen saturation range. I know that the heart rate range and blood oxygen saturation range may not be exact, but are certainly close enough for me. Surprise 7. The blood oxygen saturation part of my Samsung Health app then invited me to do an actual oximeter test by holding my right finger on a sensor on the back of my nearly 4-year-old Samsung S8 phone. What? I couldn't believe it. Happiness. But here's a photo of the sensor. You can see, if you look at the back of my phone, it's in a case, and you'll see the little black arrow is pointing to that vertically rectangular part there. Actually, having an oximeter sensor on a smartphone has been around for at least a half dozen years, I've learned. The Apple Watch has always had it, and Samsung began including it as far back as the S5 and Galaxy Note 4. I just learned that in the last couple of days. A few other Android phones have the sensor, but may not work with the Galaxy Watch 4 series. Surprise 8. And if that wasn't enough, when I went to the Samsung Health Monitor app, I found that I could now do an electrical cardiogram with my GW4C. The phone screen, it shows at the left, is quite plain and simple. And that's the screen you have open when you do the test, which is outlined in the instructions. On the right, it says there, on the right, the phone screen with instructions. Whoops, I misspelled instructions, didn't I? On how to do an ECG with the Galaxy Watch 4 is shown. Indeed, happiness. Now, look at the instruction. You open the Samsung Health Monitor on your Galaxy Watch. Make sure the watch is snug on your left wrist, specified left wrist. That's why I wear it. You rest your forearm on a table and lightly rest a fingertip on the top button for 30 seconds. That's how it works. Earlier in my tech talk today, I expressed frustration with the one-page quick start guide that came with my GW4C. I couldn't seem to find the getting started or setup instructions that I needed at the Samsung web addresses provided. I need to confess that when I visited this website again a few moments ago, I clicked on the mobile category, that was one of 10, which opened up 6 new categories, one of which was wearables. Wow, it hit Peter. Surprise 9. I clicked on wearables, which opened up another 6 categories, one of which was Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. This opened up these 5 categories, the first of which seems to be the right place to start. And in small print, it says, setting up your Samsung smartphone with or without, no, your smartwatch with or without a smart Samsung phone. So that was great. I love the looks of the analog face on my Galaxy Watch 4, see at the left, because I'm somewhat visually challenged, it didn't work for me in bed at night. I solved that problem by going to my Samsung wearable app. It takes me just 5 taps on my phone screen to change the watch face to the watch face at the right. So I do that before I go to bed, do it again when I get up in the morning. It's so quick, it takes me, I think, 10 seconds. And I've changed the face on my watch. So it's great. Happiness, again, needless to say, but my red band that I showed you previously won't arrive for a couple of weeks. Well, thanks for watching. That's my Tech Talk story for today, and I am sticking with it. Stay safe, and the good Lord willing, we'll see you next week.
Well, thank you so much. Dewey. I want to say that my experience was exactly the same as Dewey's. I'm absolutely amazed that a company as large as Samsung would release a product without any documentation. And I experienced the same problem of trying to get documentation because I guess it's a complicated watch. It does a lot of things and you need to know how to figure out how to do them. And so the fact that there is no documentation with this device is very frustrating. Now, the good news is today, of course, Dewey gave you the initial impression of it. My video will be on fall detection and how to set it up and so on and so forth. So there will be a lot more videos there's 10, maybe probably 100 videos a day coming out on the Galaxy Watch 4 on YouTube. So there's a lot of how-to videos coming out that will be helpful for you. So help is on the way. And of course, Dewey and I will be here and have a bunch more coming out for you. Hewie, are you ready to roll?
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Podcast, the series. This is part 3. What are my favorite podcasts? I'm Hewie Poplock. This is part 3. Part 1 was what is a podcast? Part 2 is how to listen to a podcast. Be sure to view those videos as well. There are many topics for podcasts. Most of my interests lie in technology, but you can find podcasts on almost any topic you can think of. Here are some lists of some possibilities of podcasts that you may want to listen to. Over the years, my favorite podcasts have come from a group called TWIT, This Week in Tech. Their website is twit.tv, and their podcasts keep you up to date with all that's happening in the world of technology. This Week in Tech is hosted by Leo Laporte. It's your first podcast of the week, and it's the last word in tech. Join the top tech pundits in a roundtable discussion of the latest trends in high tech. It records on Sundays, but you can listen to them later that evening or anytime after that when they're posted. iOS Today is another I listen to, hosted by Micah Sargent and Rosemary Orchard. Twit's TV's podcast for all things iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and more. From app reviews to helpful tips and tricks, from the latest news to the coolest accessories, Rosemary and Micah will help you make the most of your iOS devices. The Tech Guy, no one does a better job of explaining technology, computers, and the internet than Leo Laporte. This feed contains the full content of his twice-weekly radio talk show, as heard on stations all over the U.S. on the premier radio networks. And show notes are available online. Windows Weekly is one of my favorites, hosted by Leo Laporte, Mary Jo Foley, and Paul Thurrott. A weekly look at all things Microsoft, including Windows, Office, Xbox, and more, from the two foremost Windows watchers in the world, Paul Thurrott of Thurrott.com and Mary Jo Foley of All About Microsoft. All About Android is hosted by Jason Howell, Florence Ion, and Ron Richards. It's all about Android. It delivers everything you want to know about Android each week. The biggest news, freshest hardware, best apps, and geekiest how-tos with Android enthusiasts Jason Howell, Florence Ion, and Ron Richards, and a variety of special guests along the way. This Week in Google with Leo Laporte, Jeff Jarvis, Stacy Higginbotham, and Ant Pruitt. And they talk about the latest Google and cloud computing news. And then there's Tech News Weekly, which is on every Thursday. It's a weekly hosted by Jason Howell and Micah Sargent. They bring you interviews from tech journalists who make or break the top stories of the week. Jason and Micah give you more context and perspective with an in-depth look at the fast-paced world of technology and how it's changing our lives. And even though I don't listen to it, I thought I'd add this to the list to make sure that those of you who are Mac fans, Twit does have a Mac Break Weekly as well. These are the different podcasts from Twit. Now, to listen to podcasts, as I mentioned in part 2, you can listen either on iOS devices with certain applications, including the Apple Podcasts, on Android Podcasts, apps, you've got Google Podcasts and others, and then there's cross-platform podcast apps, and you'll see the arrows next to the 4 that I use. I use Stitcher most of the time, only because that was the first one that I used. I have things set up in it. Here is a page from Stitcher showing the latest episodes that I have not listened to. You'll see the bottom one. You'll see a little line there that I started listening to that, and I've gotten that far where that little line is at the bottom. I can click on the arrow and listen to any. If I click on the first one, it will then, when it finishes, go to the next one. Here are some of the Stitcher subscriptions that I have for podcasts. Here are some that I don't, but just to give you an idea that there are other topics other than technology. My favorite podcast is Tech Meme Ride Home, which is a daily technology and tech news podcast featuring Brian McCullough. And it's every day at 5 p.m. live, but within a few hours, it's online, and you can listen to it on any of the podcast services. And it's from techmeme.com, which is Silicon Valley's most read news source. It's 15 minutes, and you're up to date. Android Central Podcast is another weekly technology and news podcast, which features Alex Doby, Andrew Martinick, and Jerry Hildebrand. It's a podcast about Android for everyone. It's a weekly show about Android, Google, and the best mobile technology. And it is hosted by Daniel Bader. Cord Killers, watch what you want, where you want, when you want, on whatever device you please. Take control of your TV, movies, and more. And this is hosted by Brian Bushwood. The Vergecast is a weekly technology, tech news, and news podcast featuring Nilay Patel. This is the Vergecast, the flagship podcast of The Verge. Every Friday, they make sense of the week's tech news with help from their wide-ranging staff. And on Tuesdays, Nilay hosts an in-depth one-on-one interviews with major technology leaders. The Clark Howard Podcast. Save more and spend less is more than just a motto for money expert Clark Howard. It's a way of life. Clark and his crew, Team Clark, are on a mission to empower people to take control of their personal finances by providing money-saving tips, consumer advice, hot deals, and economic news to help everyone achieve financial freedom. Clark is a nationally syndicated radio talk show host and a consumer reporter for television stations around the country. His podcast, The Clark Howard Show, receives more than 1 million downloads each month and is a hub for listeners to get valuable advice on demand at any time. Kim Komando Explains, award-winning radio host, nationally syndicated columnist, and digital lifestyle expert Kim Komando breaks down the hottest topics in tech. Get insider secrets to protect yourself online, make money from home, secure your devices, avoid scams, and more. The GizWiz is a weekly technology and gadgets podcast featuring Dick DeBartolo and Chad Johnson. Dick Bartolo is known as Mad's maddest writer. He's a writer for Mad Magazine and also for the GizWiz. Each episode features silly, unique, and crazy gadgets and gizmos, fan videos, letters, and more. The Chromebook Classroom Podcast is a weekly education and technology podcast focusing on sharing how Chromebooks are impacting education around the world. It's hosted by author and trainer John Sowash, who interviews a variety of guests who share their Chromebook classroom experience. Taking Note, Conversation with Evernote, is presented by the leader in note-taking and productivity. It's all about Evernote. Pod News, Podcasting News, a daily news, podcasting, and technology podcast featuring James Kryland. Practical Chrome is another, which is a weekly technology, podcasting, and tech news podcast. Mobile Tech Podcast with Tank Girl Miriam Girard is a weekly technology, news, and gadgets podcast. Many times it's a lot deeper than I want to go, but there are a lot of really good items on his podcast. I got screen captures from Podchaser, which is a daily source for podcast discovery. So if you want to look for podcasts, that's a good place to go. And finally, I do want to mention cybersecurity with Bob G., our own Bob G. from Tech for Senior. It's a weekly podcast on cybersecurity news, tips, and updates. This has been Podcasts, the series. Part 3, What Are My Favorite Podcasts? I'm Hewie Poplock. I hope you have enjoyed this 3-part series. And there you go.
Unmute myself. Thanks so much, Hewie. That was great. That was really, really interesting. We have to move ahead quickly. Comments, remember, can come in the question and answer period. I'm sure there will be lots. I have some for you. But let's get moving on with the next segment here. And we'll be... It's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. Yes, the Galaxy Watch 4 is out. I got mine last Friday, 4 days ago, and I'm putting it through the paces. Today, we're going to talk about fall detection. Now, I have an upcoming video called The Misunderstood Galaxy 4 Watch. I got the name of this from the last video I made, which was a very popular one called The Misunderstood Fitbit Sense Watch. Now, as a full disclaimer, I purchased the Fitbit Sense and the Galaxy 4 watch with my hard-earned retired money. I don't get paid to sponsor this video. These opinions are my own. So in this upcoming video, I'm going to do something special, and you'll be sure and want to watch this before purchasing this watch. I'm going to look at the 5 health features from a physician's point of view. I'm going to describe what is the health feature, how does it work, and from a medical point of view, based on my 35 years as a clinical physician working in the emergency department, delivering babies, and in the hospital, I'm going to tell you my personal point of view on what I feel about this feature. And you remember the routine. If you like this video, please click the like, and if you want to see more of them, please subscribe. Fall detection. What is it? Well, in order to have fall detection in a device, you need an accelerometer. This is a little chip that goes in the device that you're purchasing. And in this case, it's a watch. And you'll see an example on the diagram, and particularly up in the right corner of a chip on an accelerometer on a device. The accelerometer measures gravity and movement and can identify if you have a fall through the software. Pretty cool. Now, the Fitbit Sense cannot do this. It does not have an accelerometer, so it can't do fall detection. The Apple Watch can, and the Galaxy 4 watch can as well. So let's look at how this works. All right, how does fall detection work? Well, there's the act of falling, and people can fall either forward, backward, or sideways. And as a result of the fall, the accelerometer through the software identifies this and then sends emergency notification through your phone. All right, I want you to stop right there. Before you decide to use this technology for your loved one to identify a fall or a life-saving event, I want you to be sure and watch this video. This is a video that I found in my research, and this is the YouTube site is called ALLSTARSPACE, and I'll put the link in the notes below, but I've given you the link on the screen to the video that I want you to watch. In this video, this couple decided to test the actual ability of these devices to identify a fall. And they used 2 devices, one on each arm. One was the Apple Watch 5, and the other was the Galaxy Watch 3. And so they had a watch on each wrist, and they had mats out, and they tried to mimic falls and have the watch go off and see what type of falls would be recorded. And they found some very interesting information. Now, I'm going to tell you, don't do this. This could cause injury and really harm to yourself. I tried it a couple of times, and I'm sitting on a big bruise. I'm not going to show it to you because it's embarrassing. Now, here's the deal. They found that the identification of the fall and the type of movement that caused the fall was quite different between both watches. So the type of movement that would trigger a fall on the Apple Watch was actually different than the type of movement that would cause a fall with an identification on the Galaxy Watch. 2 different approaches. Now, the second thing that they found was it wasn't that easy to make the watch go off. In other words, they had to fall pretty hard and try pretty hard to make this work. So, does this technology really work for our loved ones? Well, we don't know that. Certainly Apple tells us it does, and Galaxy and Samsung tells us it does, but there is no clinical trial or any body of evidence that really says this technology works. Now, Apple has had the ability to detect falls for a number of years now, and there is plenty of anecdotal information on the wire service that says, yes, I fell, I used the Apple Watch to get the ambulance there and it saved my life. But when you sell 100 million watches a year, you would expect that to occur. So how valid is this type of technology? You must watch this video before you purchase this watch if you're looking to use it for fall detection. This is so important. It's a real eye-opener. The fall detection feature is not turned on by default on the Galaxy Watch 4, so you'll need to turn it on manually if you want to use it. It can only be enabled through the Galaxy Wearable app, so make sure the watch is connected to the mobile device first. Now you'll see in the image today, you'll see that this is the display that you're going to see on your phone, and you'll see that we're going to go down to the advanced features and click on that. And you'll see it says Home Key SOS Gestures. So once we click on that, we'll see the next menu come up here, and you'll see at the top it says SOS. I want you to click that. Now at the top, you'll see two options that you have. You have the ability to manually send an SOS. And this is when you click the home button, which is the top button on the right-hand side of the watch, 3 times. And this will send an emergency alert. We'll talk about that in just a minute. You can turn this on or off. So this would give you the ability, if you fell and it didn't send the alert, that you would be able to manually send an alert. The second, of course, toggle switch is when you fall. So if you don't turn this on, it won't work. So this must be turned on to detect a fall. Then as we move down the list, you'll see who to send the emergency notification to. All right, so we're going to look at this, and we're going to send, of course, I'm going to send the emergency notification in the form of a text message to my wife, Gail Brown. You may also choose the same person to send an SOS call, but you could also define that as 911. So in the case of emergency, when an alert was sent, it would send it to 2 locations. One would be, of course, 911, and the other one would be your whoever you've defined for the emergency notification. Now, the SOS with the home key, this requires the use of the device's location. So when you send an SOS from your watch, your location is shared with your emergency contacts so they know where you are. Now, you can disable the collection and processing of your location information at any time by turning off this function. So after a fall, your watch will alert you for 60 seconds with a pop-up sound and vibration. You can cancel the alert or swipe to send the SOS right away. If you don't respond for 60 seconds, the SOS message will be sent to the emergency contacts that you have set up in the Galaxy Wearable app. So let's see how this works. In order to send an emergency notification with your watch, you have to be connected to your phone. This connection is a Bluetooth connection. So this provides all the limitations for Bluetooth connections. Let's look at your watch. First of all, your watch must be worn and it must be charged. So if you've taken your watch off and you leave it by the bedside table at night, this isn't going to work, because when you get up to have a pee in the night and you fall, your watch must be on. So you must have the ability to charge your watch. In other words, you have to take it off, put it on the wireless charger, and charge it, and you must do that once a day. Now, the connection to your phone, as I said, is through Bluetooth. So your phone must be in an immediate area that you're in, not in the car in the garage or out on the street. So you must actually have your phone, and your phone must be turned on. It could be sitting in a wireless charging stand, but it must be turned on and connected to a charged watch on your wrist. Now, the other option that you should seriously consider is purchasing the watch as an LTE version. And this LTE version has an eSIM in it. What we mean by an eSIM, this is actually a chip that's in the watch, so you physically don't actually have to put a SIM card in. So the question comes up with these LTE versions is, would you need to have a smartphone, or would they be standalone? And this is a difficult question, and it probably depends where in the world and what country you're in and what service that you're connecting to. It is certainly possible that they could be standalone devices and not needing a cell phone, but that would be dependent on how the individual provider would be configuring the device. Currently, to activate the phone, you need to send a code from a smartphone, and this pairs the two together. But it would be possible to send the to actually have this device activate itself, and I expect in some parts of the world and some services this will likely occur. All right, what is my recommendation as a physician based on this evidence? Well, there's no clinical data to support that this actually works. It's interesting when I looked at Samsung's marketing material today that there's no mention of fall detection at all. Also, the Fitbit Sense does not have an accelerometer in it. Most of the information we have about this is anecdotal information from the Apple Watch. The watch requires to be connected to a cell phone through Bluetooth. Both must be charged and on. They both must be worn 24/7. The Galaxy 4 will require daily charging, and the technology is complicated, and you'll carefully need to select who you're going to choose this. Consider an LTE version. You may look at exploring some simpler options for some people. Just remember that the Amazon Echo products all have emergency notification, as does the Google Nest, and ADT has a very extensive emergency notification devices that you can wear, such as a watch or a pendant around your neck. So there are other ways of simpler technology than using fall detection on a watch. Well, thanks for watching Fall Detection on the Galaxy 4 watch. And be sure and watch my upcoming video called The Misunderstood Galaxy 4 Watch. In that, I'm going to talk about ECG, blood pressure, oximetry, and snoring with the diagnosis of sleep apnea. More to come. The Misunderstood Galaxy 4 watch. I should have it out probably this next week, and I'll put the link in the show notes when it's out. So until we see you again, Ron Brown from Tech for Senior. All right, that's great. Ray, are you ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to just say goodbye to our YouTube members. Thank you for watching. If you want to come over, we have lots of room over here on the Zoom meeting. If you want to come over for the Q&A and listen to Ray's segment, come on over. Bob will let you in. If not, we'll see you again in another week. I will let you roll then, Ray.
Okay, here we go. Need to host disabled participant sharing.
Oh, really? I thought I made you co-host. Sorry about that.
Still.
There you go.
Okay, one more time. Thank you. Thank you. All right, this morning I'm going to talk about the Everly Brothers, and I consider them the best singing duo ever. So the Everly Brothers were not quite 2 years apart in age. Don was the elder brother. He sang lead most of the time, while brother Phil did the harmony. Don was born in 1937, and sadly he died last month at the age of 84. His younger brother Phil died in early 2014 when he was only 74. They were raised in a musical family in Iowa, singing on the radio in the 1940s with their parent, Ike and Margaret Everly. Margaret, I understand, she is still with us at the age of 102. Now, I was barely a teenager the first time I heard Bye Bye Love on the radio, but even at that young age, I was mesmerized by the perfect harmony of their voices. It wasn't long after that I saw them in person at an Alan Freed rock and roll show. Some of the first LPs I ever purchased were their initial offerings. The first one simply titled The Everly Brothers, and that was from 1957. I lent that to a girl I liked at the time and never saw it again. However, I still have the non-rock and roll 1958 release, Songs Our Daddy Taught Us. In 1961, the brothers enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve. And while this being an admirable decision, it took them out of the music spotlight. And actually, 1962 was the last year they had a top 10 hit in the USA. Although they continued to be popular in Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia for the rest of that decade. Now, by the 1970s, tension between the brothers was obvious to those who knew them. So it was not much of a surprise when they announced they would pursue solo careers and would hold their final performance at Knott's Berry Farm. This is an amusement park in Buena Park, California, on July 14, 1973. It was reported that while on stage, Don was clearly incapacitated, playing erratically and forgetting lyrics. In frustration, Phil smashed his guitar and walked off the stage. The only time they saw each other during the next 10 years was at their father's funeral. But enough time had passed, and on September 23, 1983, the brothers held a reunion concert in London dubbed A Night at the Royal Albert Hall. We are fortunate that the entire concert is available to watch on YouTube, links below, and they'll be in the newsletter, of course. But for me, the final song of the concert is so very special. The first time I saw this clip, I must admit, I had a tear in my eye as I felt the Everlys were singing the song, Let It Be Me, to each other, and their brotherly love had resurfaced. The Beatles, Beach Boys, and Simon and Garfunkel, just a few of the many bands that were influenced by the Everly Brothers. They were there at the birth of rock and roll, so it was fitting they were part of the first 10 artists to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986.
Oh, wow. That was pretty impressive.
So I mentioned in my little monologue there that I gave my first album of the Everly Brothers to this girl I liked at the time, and I never saw it again. Well, thanks to today, we are now on Amazon. I was able to buy, I know it's hard to say, but I was able to buy the album again. And with today's technology, 180 gram, it's a limited edition they call it high definition vinyl. So there's always hope.
So Ray, that is a recently produced vinyl record. That's not one that was produced many years ago. This is a recent one.
It's a very recent one, just produced. They took the original cover. No, it's a little bit hard to see here. They took the original cover. Actually, this is right. The original cover, and then they've added. Normally there was 6 songs to each side on the original album. They've added actually 4 more. So you have a total of 16 songs on this. I haven't opened it yet because I have every song already, but I just wanted to have this same album again in my hands, and I'm thrilled.
Hey, Ray, a question about the players that you'd use to play that. If you had a player that was like 40 years old and you wanted to play a new record like that, would that be inadvisable? Do you need a new player? Is the head on the player okay to use?
The stylus or the needle should be new. I would recommend that if it's that old and you haven't changed that stylus in a long time. And there's a company called Shure. They've been around for 50, 60 years, SHURE.com, and they sell needles and stylus for all types of turntables.
Okay, thanks. Well, thanks everyone. Hey, it's a little past top of the hour. Another week has gone by.
Can I add something to that?
You certainly can.
Ray is president of APCUG, and back in the days when I used to go to the APCUG conferences at Comdex in Las Vegas, we stayed at the official APCUG hotel, was the Orleans, and the Everly Brothers were the featured act there. And I kicked myself for never going to one of the shows, but it was in the same hotel. So I felt at least I was close to them.
Wow.
Indeed.
Very nice.
Yes, all right. I know maybe Jolin has a question, but let's hold on. Just let me say goodbye. Let me say goodbye to everybody. Those of you who have to leave, it's top of the hour. Our show is over. We hope to see you again next week. Don't forget Tech for Senior Live on Friday or Thursday. And don't forget that at 1:30, we'll have our premiere service running. And we'll have, of course, Hewie will be talking about time and travel. Dewey will be talking about colorizing your pictures, and I'll be talking about Chromebooks. We'll start that at about 1:30, but now we're going to move in to our segment of question and answer. Now, of course, after Bob's great video, everybody knows how to raise their hand, right, Bob? If they don't, they're going to get the video again.
Yep.
Yeah, if they don't, they're going to get the video again, right, Bob?
The video is on my YouTube channel. So
if you're a slow learner, go over to his channel and you can watch it forever. All right, let's see who's first on
Jim
the
is
list.
first.
Jim is first. Yes, Jim, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you to Ray. I just heard the news this morning that at age 95, Tony Bennett has finally decided to retire.
Yeah, he has dementia, and that's one of the reasons that brought that on.
Yeah, I would request, Ray, if you could, maybe a little segment on Tony. I just love that man.
I like that kind of input. Thanks a lot, Jim. I'll see what I can do.
Thanks, Jim. Ray, or Greg, sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Hey, what do we have to do to get this next segment? Do we have to go out or?
So the next segment, the premiere segment is on our YouTube channel. It's not a Zoom meeting. So all that you have to do is go to our YouTube channel and you'll see it. It's an upcoming event called the Premiere Service. If you don't know how to get there, just go to our website. There's a great big button there that says take you to our YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Okay. Roberta, go ahead. Unmute yourself, Roberta. You're still muted there. You're going to have to hit the space bar.
I did.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Oh, I got too many things open.
We can hear you now. We can hear you
Okay,
now.
yeah, I did hit it a couple times and I was still muted. On the Galaxy Watch, on the fall part, it can't be, it's not working without a phone in your pocket too. So it's not independent of the phone.
That's right. So the whole, so let me just tell everyone about my experience. When I was going to make that video, I had not intended on making it on fall detection. I was going to make the 5-part video and have it ready today for everybody. But I got so involved in the fall detection feature that of course, I made a whole video just about the fall detection. And one of the big concerns I have, and what we don't know, Roberta, is in fact if this technology actually works. Now, yes, you do indeed need to have a phone for the fall detection to work with. So in this particular case, you would need an Android phone, and it would need to be paired. But not only that, but it needs to be it needs to be connected to your watch. So the two need to be paired, because the phone call is actually going to occur not from the watch, but from the phone. So the two have to be connected. So your phone has to be charged and be on. Now, the exception to that rule would be, of course, if you had an LTE version of the watch. And so if that's something that you are thinking about, it should be, you should consider the LTE version. But the interesting thing, and I don't know if Dewey saw this, I mean, Dewey can sort of do some research on this, but I could not find in any of the Samsung literature, in any of their advertising or anything about the fall detection feature. It's like they're not advertising this at all. And I don't know why that is. Maybe because I'm not so sure that I'm convinced about this technology. There is certainly a lot easier stuff to use, such as the ADT stuff I showed you, where there's the button you just push and it works, right? So I'm a little bit skeptical about this, and I'm gonna I'm not sure. I'm sitting on the fence with this. And for sure, if you're going to purchase this for the fall detection feature, I want you to watch that video that I put in the link, and I'll be putting it in our show note link. And I really want you to watch that video. And it's a big eye opener. And so you got to think about that. All right. Does that answer your question, Roberta?
When you said LTE watch, what I don't know.
Oh, sorry. LTE is the cellular version of the watch. Okay. So in other words, and what will happen with the watch is the watch will likely be sold in the cellular version through probably T-Mobile, and the cell services that are in, they will be the ones that will be reselling, because it will require a connection to a cell phone. It will need a cell phone number, and you'll connect the watch not through your phone, but the watch will connect directly into so it'll actually have a phone number associated with the watch, and that's what we call the LTE version. But those will probably be sold, as I said, through the cell phone carriers in this case in the United States.
Yeah, Ron, the LTE will require, I'm sure, it'll be an extra cost for the phone or for the watch, and there'll also be a service charge. You're going to have a cell phone number, and so it's probably going to be about, in a lot of cases, like $20 more a month for the phone. Yeah,
well, it may be, but already some of the companies in the United States now are bundling it together without an extra charge for the watch. So this is a big deal, and a lot of people will buy the LTE version, the cellular version of the watch. So it depends on the service. You have to look at each company as they have this for sale. All right. Did that answer your question, Roberta?
Yes, thank you. Because that's what I was interested in, the Apple Watch, because it's independent. Like, I'm out in the yard in precarious near the canal. If I fell in, I want to be able to call or.
Well, again, the Apple Watch works exactly the same. You will need to, there's two versions of the Apple Watch, of course. There's the one that connects to your phone, but there's also an LTE version of the Apple Watch. So it depends on which version that you get, okay?
I would get the independent one. Then I have to have another phone number. So I got all messed up and all that and it's expensive, because right now I just have a prepaid phone, $100 a year.
Right. and that was the point that I really, as I got more and more into this, I want to caution everybody about this. I'm not so sure that if that is the reason why you are going to buy this technology, there's simpler and easier and cheaper technology available that works, I think, a lot better. Now, as Dewey pointed out today in his great video that he did, there's lots of things this watch does, right? And a lot of things. So, maybe that's just not one of the reasons that you would want to do this. So I'm just going to put that up as a word of caution involving this. You got to watch that video that I put in the link, and you'll be really, really amazed with that. But there's lots of other things coming up, and we're going to talk about, of course, blood pressure, ECG, all the other things that this watch does. There's a lot of other things it does. But for that specific reason, I think you have to be cautious.
Thank you.
Okay. Dewey, did you have a comment on that? Did you find anything about
Yes, first of all, you must have a different version, because maybe it's that you have an LTE version, but fall detection is not on my app, my Samsung Health Monitor app. I have searched high and low through that app and the other two, and there is absolutely nothing available to me in fall detection. So it must be somehow involved with LTE.
It's on the wearable app. I found it on mine.
Yeah, it's under the wearable app.
And I don't have the LTE version. I just have the regular one.
And I don't have the LTE version either. So it's there.
I just searched the wearable app, and
Dewey, watch the video.
I don't know what.
Yeah, just watch the menu in the video. It'll show you exactly how to do it. It's there.
You said get Google Health Monitor, though. I mean Samsung Health Monitor, and I couldn't find it there.
It's in the wear. It's wearable.
Okay, I'll search again.
Yeah.
By the way, I have one other comment. If you're a person who always has your phone on your person, or even at night, my phone is within 6 feet of me, there's absolutely no reason for you to have to buy the LTE version because it sucks up twice as much battery. And there might even be extra costs involved.
You have to have a data plan for it.
Right. Right.
Sure,
And
there might-
Dewey, you're absolutely right. I mean, I agree 100% with that comment. You know, and that would fit me as well. But you do, if you've left your phone in the car and the car is out on the street, then it's unlikely that it's going to be paired. The other thing that you know, Dewey and I have looked at, it's going to probably take about an hour to charge this watch. And again, you have to take the watch off and you have to leave it off your wrist and have it charged for that hour. In that hour, you could fall and have an injury, but you also have to remember to put the watch back on. So again, you have to take it off and charge it. So you're going to, so there is going to be a period of time here where you're not going to be covered. So I want everyone to think about these things before, because I did a show just a couple of days ago, and a lot of people bought this watch for that specific feature. And I think I really want you to think twice about it if you're looking at for specifically that feature.
What you say doesn't include me because my watch is always with me.
That's right.
Even when I move from the bedroom to the kitchen, I carry the watch with me, and I have a charger in the kitchen. I've got the charger.
That's right. George, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Okay. I agree with you that there needs to be some scientific trials of these watches.
Right.
Without that data, there was a trial a long time ago about accelerometers in smartphones.
Oh,
and they found the accelerometers were not sensitive enough to be reliable fault detectors. But I expect the sensors have become more sensitive. I've sent you a link to a presentation I did on fall detectors.
Oh, great.
One of the things that needs to be understood is, where do these falls occur? And where are they most likely to be unnoticed? And that, in my belief, is in your home. If you're out at a store and you fall, there's going to be people around who see you, right? And if you're walking in a public place, they'll see you. But in your home, nobody knows you've fallen. And we had a coroner in our computer club who said most people, bodies are found either in the bathroom or at the bottom of stairs. And so rather than try to deal with fall detectors, my solution was to build a device that sees if the light in the bathroom has been left on for an unreasonable length of time, and to send an alert based on that. I stopped using it because I found out that I really cannot be trained to turn off the bathroom light. Okay, so that's it. And you'll see my presentation as a link in the email to you.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you so much, because I am really, the interesting thing about this video that I keep mentioning is that you just assume it was interesting that both the mechanism of falling, in other words, the ability to fall and how it recorded it, was totally different on the Apple Watch versus the Galaxy Watch. In other words, the act of falling was not universal. And I'm saying, well, okay, what if you are wearing the Galaxy Watch and you do the Apple fall? Like how does this work? And so I'm really on the fence with this. The other thing that is just, so interesting, that there's nothing in the Samsung document about this being a feature of the watch. They are not promoting this at all. And the other thing is the Fitbit Sense, which is a big competitor to this watch, is they didn't even put it in. They didn't even put an accelerometer in there. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm really on the fence with this right now. Dorothy, go ahead.
I don't have a smartwatch like that. I do have a home alarm system, and I wear a fob around my neck day and night. It's connected to the alarm system. I don't have to put it on the charger.
Right.
And it's medic alert. If I push that button, it goes straight to the fire department.
That's right. And Dorothy, that's exactly.
And it doesn't cost me anything.
That's right. And that's exactly what I said in the end of my video, as I said, there are other methods that I think are cheaper and more reliable. You're absolutely correct. Thank you for
The
that
only
comment.
problem with this is perhaps with your watch and things, if you fall at the mall or something like that, but like you said, there'll be
Right,
people around to take care of
right,
it.
right.
But this does go with me out into the yard
Yes,
within 50 feet of.
that's right. Thanks, Dorothy. Diane, do you have one quick question? Jim, we're not going to get to you tonight. We've got to leave. It's 20 after. So Diane, do you have one quick question before we sign off?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I may have asked this before, but I have an Apple Watch. I think it was the second generation, and the face had popped up, which I've done all the research. That was that was a fault of that. I just wanted to know if there was a new fix for this. That they said there was no fix. So actually, I'm afraid to wear it because the face pops up, and somebody said to super glue it. The watch still works, but I just wanted to know if there was something to do.
Yeah, I don't. That's a pretty old watch.
Yeah, it still works, and I don't want to buy a
Yeah.
new one unless I have to because I don't really need it. I
Right.
just want it.
Diane, I don't know the answer to that question. That would be sort of an Apple Care sort of thing. That would be
Okay.
somebody, that would be someone probably take the Apple store and they'd be able to help you with that.
Thank you.
I just found fall detection.
Oh, did you? Dewey, send me the link. Send me the link, okay?
Will do.
Oh, on your watch. You found it on your watch.
Yes. No, I found it actually on the app on my phone.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Okay.
It's under
well,
SOS.
Yes, that's right. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming today. It's been a great show. We will see everybody next week. Don't forget, the premiere service starts in about 10 minutes, actually in about 7 minutes on our YouTube channel. If you want to come and listen to us talking there. And we will see everyone on Tech for Senior Live on Thursday morning if you want to come and win a prize, talk to us about technology. Otherwise, we'll see you again next Monday, same time, same place with the same gang. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
And this Sunday is the Windows SIG. Contact me if you're not registered.
All right. Thanks, Hewie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.